Bottom line was good. It taught so many young people to have sex, which is good. Speaking of young people, let's talk about how to stop school shootings. Now, as I mentioned previously, there have been a lot of school shootings lately. There's been a couple. They tend to come in threes. They're like celebrity deaths. All right. We've had a lot of school shootings recently. I'm going to talk about how to stop it. This is How to Stop a School Shooting, a presentation by Stephen Bongino. So the school shooting we had about, was it a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago or so, was the transgender person in Nashville who was a bit of a cutie. I'm willing to say it. Was a little bit of a cutie pie, and I would like to have given her a big smooch. Now, I'm not saying I, recommend walking in to a grade school and yeeting a bunch of kindergartners. That's bad. I don't do that. If you're going to do it, go with least cute first, okay? Let the cute kids live. Actually, no. No, I take it back. Start with the cutest kids, all right? Because they've had the most handed to them. Give the uncute kids a leg up just once. But she was a cutie too. Look at her. No, I believe at the time of the shooting, they were identifying as a man. And I don't want to misgender anyone because I'm a moderate centrist, okay? If you're a crazy, mentally ill wackadoo who mutilates your body, then, you deserve my respect. But they did a bit of a school shooting, which I think is bad. Don't do school shootings. I'm opposed to it. You know what I'm saying? What's the best sound I got for the school? Don't do that, okay? And there was another one who last week, this person, and I don't know their name, and here's the deal. Is this person cute? A little bit, okay? They planned a school shooting. They thankfully didn't do it because unfortunately they did walk into the local Denny's and go, hey, I need to get a Grand Slam breakfast and quick because afterwards I'm going to go do a school shooting. And so the FBI came in and grabbed their manifesto, which did mention a number of high-profile political figures on the internet, such as Vaush, the political commentator and horse enthusiast. It mentioned him and called him a terrorist. It did not mention me, and I do feel slighted because I was sending thirst pics to this person, just me posing. But what I don't know, I'm told this person is transgender as well. What direction? And I need to know that before I will commit having sex with him in prison. All right? If we are talking that is a man who's trying to transition into a woman, that's disgusting, and I absolutely will not do it if they have not had bottom surgery. If they've done bottom surgery, then maybe I'm willing to go there, okay? But we don't know. So that was another school shooting. There's been so many of them. Everywhere you go, can't throw a stick without a school shooting. How are we going to stop it? How are we, as Americans, going to stop the school shooting and also the grooming, okay? First thing I'd recommend is stop grooming kids, but I know you say stop grooming, but it's also in the same way you're like, I'm not going to eat the whole frozen pizza. I'm just going to eat half of it, but then the edible hits and you're going to eat that whole frozen pizza. Don't even lie to me. First step in stopping school shootings. We have to give teachers way more guns. More guns in school, EE12 said. One step ahead of you, buddy. Give teachers more guns. Teachers have barely any guns right now. The average teacher only has 1.25 guns, which means they have one gun and then just the bullets for another gun. We need to give them way more machine guns. We need to set up traps, okay? Like we need to have a shotgun right above a door. And if anyone opens it, not during school hours, blast it. We might lose some janitors. But that is a price I am willing to pay to keep our children safe. Also, we need to vaccinate children way more. Now, I know what you're thinking. Steve, you're a moderate centrist. Aren't you against vaccines? But ever since I've been kicked off YouTube one time, I've been very pro-vaccine. Super pro-vaccine. And I'm apologizing for ever saying that, of course, I'm sorry for ever doing that. We need to get more vaccines to kids. Because people don't know this. Not only does it protect them from diseases, it protects them from bullets. So go get vaccinated more. You can just go into a Walgreens right now. They'll give you another vaccine. You can do it literally every day. They are legally not allowed to ask any questions. Walk in. You can have it put in different parts of your body. You can say, shoot it between the webs of my fingers like I'm a heroin addict. Vaccinate children more. More vaccines. I love vaccines. We could also, of course, hire a bunch of veterans to hang out in classrooms at all times. I think it's a great idea. Get a guy who's done a couple terms. Is that what we say? What do we call it? Sound off in the comments. What do you call it when someone goes over to Afghanistan, Iraq? What do they call that? Terms of service? I don't know. But a tour, that's what I'm looking for. Looking for someone who's done a tour, maybe in Afghanistan, maybe in Iraq. Maybe they're hanging out in South Korea, looking at the border of North Korea, just a finger on the trigger. They're going, any day now. Have them hang out. Heavily tours. Totino Rose says, yes, I got to it eventually. Okay. Could have been quicker. Get someone who's done a couple tour of duties and just have them hang out with a gun in the back of a classroom, just ready to go at any time. Whenever, the bell rings, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay. And if they start crying, tell the kids, don't worry about it. Leave them alone. They're working through their own thing. Okay. So I think it's a good idea. Get a bunch of heavily armed veterans. I'm chewing on ice right now. I'm going to chew on ice into the microphone. Everyone calm down. Hire a bunch of veterans to hang out in classrooms at all time. I think that's a great way to stop a school shooting. Another good idea? Of course, get Mark Wahlberg to hang out in his classrooms at all times. Okay? Get him in there. He has said in maybe the best interview of all time that if he was on the plane on 9/11, things would have gone down differently. Okay? He was supposed to be, because people don't know, one of the planes on 9/11 was going from Boston back to Los Angeles. The two places Mark Wahlberg spends the most time at. Okay? New ASMR just dropped, Iggy12 says. I should have a separate channel which is just wet noises. Wet noises with Steve. Get Mark Wahlberg to hang out in the classrooms. If a school shooter walks in, he goes, yo, bro, would you like to watch my film Father Stew? I think that'll show you about how you can take Christ instead of bullets into your life. So it's a good idea. Get Mark Wahlberg to hang out. We could also, of course, stop kids from playing violent video games, or alternatively, make video games way more violent. Because there's sort of two different ways we can tackle school shootings. We can either try to get it at the source and stop kids from doing the shooting. And I think that would be a good idea if we stop them from playing all these violent video games like Call of Duty or Miss Pac-Man. All right? That's the most violent video game of all. Like Mortal Kombat has fatalities where you rip a spine out, but do you ever just eat someone whole? I don't think so. That's what Miss Pac-Man is all about. And it's getting these kids into these warped mindsets where they're like, I have to go do violence at a school. Stop the violent video games. Or alternatively, the other approach is make it so all the other kids are really good at defending themselves from a school shooter. And that's why we got to make the games way more violent. Okay? Like maybe we make Miss Pac-Man a character in the next Mortal Kombat. I think it's a good idea. I don't know. That's just my thought. So that's an idea. Another idea, it says Biden and a Secret Service would hang out in various schools for free. That actually would have been a good idea. Get Joe Biden or Hunter Biden in schools at various times, okay? Get Hunter Biden, just hang out in the back, and, it would get all the ADHD kids could sell him their Ritalin. You're making money. Another idea, we need to stop white men from going to therapy, okay? Women, minorities, you guys can keep going. It's for you. But all the white men who keep doing these school shootings, it is wild. It is exclusively white men. Even like a woman transitions into being a man and a week later she's like, I just have an overwhelming desire to do a school shooting. It's wild. First, I got to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and get the absolute hottest possible hot sauce. Got to get really into that. Then I got to go do a school shooting. It's insane. We got to stop because the white men, they go to therapy and they're told they should care about their feelings or thoughts or ideas or talk to their dad. And it's disgusting. Cut it out. Stop it. Stop it right now. We got to stop white men from going to therapy. We, of course, also, another thought, make the movie SWAT. Yeah, Iggy12 says white men need the least therapy. It only makes sense. Absolutely. And I've long said, I'm the person least in need of therapy in this whole fucking state. Now, we should also make the movie SWAT part of every school's curriculum. I think that's a good idea. It's a great film. Samuel Jackson, Colin Farrell. He should have shaved his head for this. Michelle Rodriguez, LL Cool J. It's a great film. It will do two things. It will teach the kids Okay, this is kind of back to the video game dichotomy. Do we stop the school shooting at the root, or we just make everyone better at defending against school shooters? So, with the film SWAT, we both learned proper gun handling technique from the actors, all of which who went to gun school for this. So they know how to properly handle machine guns. All right. Then on top of that, we also show that crime doesn't pay. In the movie SWAT, the bad guys lose. It was a new, interesting, kind of cool thing Hollywood was doing. They had the bad guys lose in this one. So I think that's a pretty good idea for stopping school shootings, is make the movie SWAT part of every school's curriculum. We could, of course, get teenagers having more sex, but only after they're married. And also, I'm talking exclusively about kids of legal age. Don't come after me, secular humanist YouTube lawyers. As everyone knows, a big problem with school shootings, which are done by white men, is that women aren't having enough sex. It is mostly women's fault. It's more than not, it's the fault of women. Okay? That's my opinion. And they're not having sex with young men nearly as much. Okay? When I was in high school, which was 3 years ago, when I was in high school in 2020, okay, and then I graduated right before COVID happened, and I did graduate in China, and for my graduation party, we did have bat soup. So, but listen, back when I was going to high school, post no Alec Baldwin zones in all schools, thinking impaired said, that's a good point. They need to start showing the movie SWAT and stop showing Glengarry Glen Ross. It's giving kids all the bad ideas. So we need to get teenagers having more sex, because teenagers aren't fucking like at all. And again, I'm talking about 17 and 18, 17, depending on what state you're in, and 19. Those teenagers, 19, if they're kind of stupid and had to repeat a grade and they're a little bit older, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about legal teenagers, secular humanist YouTube lawyers. We need to get them having more sex, but only after they're married. And that's why I support whatever state it was, I think Wyoming, that made it legal for teenagers to get married. 13-year-olds, I think. And when they're 13, they're teenagers. All right? Okay? Everyone knows if it bleeds, it leads. Well, if it bleeds, it breeds. Okay? That's what I just said that into a camera. If it bleeds, it breeds. Put that down on a shirt. I will give $20 cash to anyone who wears a shirt saying that out in public. That might be the worst thing anyone has ever said. And Hitler gave speeches. Hitler would talk for an hour and a half at a time. That's the problem with live streaming. As I've said before, the only skill involved, you don't have to be funny or insightful or know anything. You just have to never shut up. Just continually talk. I've been talking for about 90 minutes now, just going. And eventually you're going to say something akin to, if it bleeds, it breeds. That's what's going to happen. But all this lack of sex to young men is making their balls so heavy, so very, very heavy, just big sagging nuts. And with that, you got to do a school shooting. So girls out there, I'm talking to you, all girls who can legally do this, only legal aged women. Drain the evil. Take the balls and get the evil out. Get the evil out of the women. Get the evil out of the women. If it bleeds, it breeds. Vote Joe Biden 2024. I've long said it. I've long said it. Next piece of advice. Is this the final piece of advice? I think this is the final piece of advice. We need to ban guns amongst people who kind of have a school shooter sort of vibe. We need to do vibe checks at gun stores. Okay? When someone comes in, we need to just look them up and down, check out their whole vibe. And if it kind of seems like they're going to bring a gun into a school or a movie theater or a church or a black church, they don't get a gun. Or alternatively, they get an old-time musket. That's what I think. If you have a school shooter kind of vibe, you get one of those old-timey guns, like a Revolutionary War kind of gun that you got to reload after every shot. And if you can do a school shooting with one of those, you should get to do it, legally, I'm kind of saying. So that's my opinion about how to properly stop school shootings. We're having fun. Shut up and sit down.